Hi everyone, this is Sean. Over the course of this whole year, and maybe next year, I'm gonna start making a series of videos of tips if you decide to own and operate a firearms training facility for private security officers. In California, I am licensed to provide the 2-day course for private security officers who want to obtain their exposed firearm permit. And I started doing these qualifications on or about 2010. April 2010, I got my state license to do that. So I have a lot of years, I got a lot of experience doing this, and I've made so many mistakes, and I am hoping that by you guys watching my videos, you're learning from the tips that I make, and you're learning from my mistakes, so you don't become a fool out there and learn from your own mistakes. Because remember, a fool learns from his or her own mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. That is an old adage. So this is what I learned. When I started doing the qualifications and requalifications for security, in a class of 10, I would do the whole class all by myself. I would do so day 1 is classroom, and day 2 is field exercises. They're actually shooting 50 practice rounds. This is California, and 50 for testing purposes. So a total of 100. But I'm watching the whole line, and this is what I noticed: that out of this group of 10, about 2 or 3 requires 80%, sometimes 90% of my attention. And when I'm redirecting my attention for these 2 to 3 people, sometimes it's 1, but that's rare. When I'm rediverting my attention to these 2 to 3 people, I'm shortchanging these other people that are on the line, the remaining 7 people. I'm not as focused as I should be on them. And when you're in the firearms, when you are taking a firearms training course, if you're somebody that wants to learn, well, you want the instructor to be right next to you, sometimes right on top of you, and critiquing you as much as you can. Now, typically, as long as a student is hitting where they're supposed to, you tend to just leave them alone, and whatever they're doing, you just let them keep doing. The only problem that I have with that is in the state of California firearm qualification course, the target is so huge, so you can have decent trigger control, decent handling of the firearm, and your shots are most likely going to be within the scoring range. But we want our shooters to be a lot more accurate, have a better grouping, better control of their firearm, instead of the shot placement being all over the place. Now, those of you who are advanced shooters, there's a time and place to shoot in different areas. But I'm talking about, see, that's intentional. But when you have these seven guys on the firing line, and they're doing an average job manipulating the firearm, and their shot placement is scattered but within the target, in my point of view, that's not acceptable, and we can get these people better. But the problem is these 2 to 3 people that are on the line require 80-90% of our attention, so we're not paying close attention to these other 7 others. And what I started to feel was burnout in the classroom. And in California, if it's an 8-hour course, it has to be 8 hours. You actually get penalized, and I think it's $500 for every hour that you miss of the presentation. So you just get burned out. And then on the live range, that's when you really get burned out. The sun, the wind elements, going back and forth to different students pays a high toll on you. And then you have these students that need extra attention, that just drain a lot of your energy away. So what I recommend is this, that you hire coaches. So in California, a coach, only a BSIS, Bureau of Security Investigative Services certified instructor. BSIS is a regulatory arm in California. They regulate private security instructors. Only a BSIS instructor can certify students. I don't know if it's the same with other states. They're not only certified, but they're the ones that can only teach. Now, the state never said anything about coaches. So what I would do is I would employ coaches to assist me. And obviously these coaches need some type of firearm training experience as well. But when I hire 2 coaches, so for a line of 10 people, firing line 10 people, I was the main instructor. When I hire 2 coaches, ladies and gentlemen, it just made things flow a lot more easier, and I paid them well. We had more safety on the range. The students that required more time, they got assistance from the instructors. From the coaches, and it goes by smoother, a lot more efficient, and it's fair for the students, because students, they pay a lot of money for these courses, you guys. Just in training fees alone, you're looking at somewhere around $200, maybe more, maybe less. That's just in training fees. That's not including ammunition, the firearm permit fees, all that other stuff. It's just training fees. They pay a lot of money for this, for this time here. So that's why I recommend. So before you even go out there and get certified as a firearm instructor, if you want to have a fire line of 10 people, you got to start hiring the coaches as well, because you're gonna be overworked. This I'm telling you guys, the range is gonna be unsafe if you think that you can operate 10 students at once. And these types of courses tend to invite some lowest common denominator students, and I don't like to use that term. It sounds kind of derogatory, but that's the reality of it. I know that there's nicer words to describe them, but really you have students who have never been through boot camp, never been through a police academy, or who never had discipline or structure in their life, and all of a sudden they want to get their firearm permit, and they don't understand why you cannot keep your finger, or you can't place your finger inside the trigger guard unless you made the conscious decision to shoot and your sights are on target. A lot of people, these common denominator students, they come in there and they don't realize how important being safe is. And you tell them once, and they'll do it again, and they'll do it again, and they'll do it again. We usually don't get anyone muzzling, but I've had people muzzle a shotgun in my face, muzzle a gun at me, a loaded pistol at me a couple times. Again, these are your lowest common denominator students. But that's what I recommend, you guys. Now, if you're just starting out as a firearm instructor, I don't think it's a bad idea to just take on 3 students a day. I think this is something that you could manage. But once again, I'm almost sure out of that group of 3, there's going to be that one student that's going to require 80 to 90% of your time. When you spend more time with that student, you're going to shortchange the other. But I don't think you should go more than 3 students if you're just by yourself. I recommend in the security industry, for every 3 students, have an instructor or have a coach, and the training sessions are going to go a lot more smoother. NRA, the National Rifle Association, I took their law enforcement handgun instructor course not too long ago. Well, actually, yes, a long time ago, over 12 years ago. And they recommend 1 instructor for every 5 students. Now, with tactical courses, you might have to go 1 and 1, or 1 and 2, or 1 and 3. It just depends on the skill level of the student, but it's 1 and 5. Now, if you're running a law enforcement line, I mean, you can literally do 1 to 8, 1 to 7. I really wouldn't do 1 to 5, but these are people that have more experience with safety, with being safe. The same thing with the military. If you get somebody that's out of the military, I could almost guarantee that many of them, not every single one, but many of them, especially if they have a combat-related MOS, they're gonna use safety. They're gonna muzzle on their intended target and not each other. They'll keep their finger off the trigger until they intend to shoot, and they make a conscious decision to shoot, and the sights are aligned. There's a greater chance. And I've trained military before when they get out and they want to get their exposed firearm permit. And there was one course. It was 1, and then we had 5 military. I had 1 coach, and we had zero problems. The only problem that I had with the military is if if you get somebody who is trained in the rifle, they're going to hold their pistol funky. Not every person in the military is proficient with a pistol. Rifle, it's a lot different, and the way that they hold a rifle is very similar on how they will hold a pistol. But that's topic of another discussion. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are. You guys who are firearm instructors, do you see the same problem with that that one person out of a group of 5 or 10, or even 3 people out of this group of 8 or 10, causing about 80 to 90% of your attention? Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions, concerns, let me know. I'll also leave a link in the description box of a video I made about the exposed firearm permit. It's not the classroom portion. I will do one for the classroom portion just to discuss what is involved. But I did a live fire demonstration. There's some things that I need to work out in another video, but I definitely would like you guys to check it out if you're interested. Take care.